responsibilities of that position on a nightly basis against anyone else in the league playing that position. I think we could get even more production out of his skill set were he allowed that opportunity. That being said, it is his rookie year. You don't want to throw too much at him, but clearly he's thriving. I mean, he's well on his way to being Rookie of the Year, an all-star, next, very soon, a superstar. Like, this guy's, barring major injury, this guy's going to be a superstar player. There's no doubt about that. It's just a matter of how much of it will be done here in Minnesota, and the what kind of win totals are going to come along with that. But so, no surprise, Wolves lose a game they should have won. That's the way the season is going this year. But we're still, I want to say, our next win will have us at equal our win total for the entirety of last year. So there's definitely been improvement made. We've gotten better. We do not stink as bad as we stunk last year. That is a fact. So T-Wolves fans can take much, much pride and solace in knowing that. The losses, they don't mean anything. We're better. That's what's important. We're better than we were. That's what's important. But as far as other T-Wolves, problems, who needs to go, what they need to change, stuff like that, we've got plenty more basketball season to discuss that. So let's get to just the rest of the NBA news and then change topics once again. The Cleveland Cavaliers, who the T-Wolves just lost to a few nights ago as well, by the way, that loss came to a Cleveland Cavaliers team who had a new head coach that night, coaching for his first time ever on the team as the head coach, and probably his first time ever, period, as a head coach. Former player Tyronn Lue has replaced former Cleveland Cavaliers head coach David Blatt as the head coach of the Cleveland Cavaliers. The ironic things here to me is the timing of it more than anything, as well as where they are at in the season. They are, without question, the number one seed in the East right now, wins, losses wise. They're the best team in the East. It's not even close. I want to say next team's like 4 or 5 games behind them, something like that. They're comfortably in the number one seed in their conference and are pretty much a lock to go to the conference finals. And they fired their head coach. That's a weird set of circumstances and timing put together. You know what I'm saying? Now, I guarantee you that LeBron had a say in this. It is his team. And, oh, by the way, yeah, his contract's up again after this year, I want to say. And there was no way that he was going to come back to a team that had David Blatt as the head coach of it. That guy was a moron. That's the thing, though. Don't get me wrong. I completely agree with the firing of David Blatt as the head coach of the Cavaliers. Completely agree with that guy. That guy is in the Balls Deep Stum Hall of Fame, right next to Chip Kelly. They were enshrined in the same Stum Hall of Fame class together, okay? Because here on Balls Deep Sports Talk, if you're unfamiliar, I'll clue you in. Here on Balls Deep Sports Talk, we have what's known as the Stum Hall of Fame, where we induct people, maybe even events or things like that, but for the most part we induct people who have either done at one point in time or over a period of many times things that are so stupid and so dumb that they're stupid dumb. We call that Stum. We have a Stum Hall of Fame. David Blatt and Chip Kelly were in our inaugural class. So I completely agree with the firing of David Blatt as the head coach of this team. I just don't understand why you get this far into the season where you're almost at the All-Star break, you're in first place in your conference, not just your division, in your conference. You're going to the finals for sure. almost for sure. And, that's when you get fired. Like, fire him in the off season, or fire him after, the first month. Fire him in November or December. Don't wait until the end of January, beginning of February. I don't get that. But so the Cleveland Cavaliers, as I mentioned, have a new head coach, and that's former player Tyronn Lue. And he won his debut as the Cavs head coach against the Minnesota Timberwolves. So congratulations to him. Golden State Warriors are still on record pace. It will be very interesting to see if they, in fact, tie, come close to, or surpass the Chicago Bulls record of 72 wins in a season. They very well could do it. They have now won 39 consecutive home games. That dates back 39 consecutive regular season home games. And that dates back all the way to last season yet. They have not lost a home game this year at all. We're almost halfway through the season. Insane. Insane in the membrane. Insane in the brain. Insane in the membrane. Insane, got no brain. Yeah, some Cypress Hill. What was I talking about? Oh yeah, the Golden State Warriors are amazing. That's what I was talking about. So yeah, breaking news. You heard it here first on Balls Deep Sports Talk. The Golden State Warriors of the NBA pro basketball world are pretty good. And then our final bit of basketball news. This is freaking-tastic. Blake Griffin, all-world dunker, LA Clipper, power forward, NBA superstar. He has been out with injury for several weeks. I want to say the last month or so. He has not played, been out with injury, give or take. He was scheduled to return here sometime like this week. And he was on a trip with the team. I believe they were in Toronto for a game, possibly. And was out with team players and team employees, and a equipment manager and Mr. Blake Griffin got into a heated argument over something, and Blake Griffin decided to punch the guy in the face. The guy left, and then Blake Griffin followed him and punched him in the face again. Just to make sure his point had been made crystal freaking clear. And in the process of these two punches, Blake Griffin broke his hand and is now going to be out with injury for the next 4 to 6 weeks. Unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, it's bad enough that you are physically assaulting with the intent to harm and inflict pain a team employee, a co-worker, if you will, someone who's beneath you on the totem pole. Well, I guess I don't know that it matters where they are in regards to the totem pole in this story. Maybe not. I don't know. But nonetheless, a company employee, you decide to try to bash their brains in. And, well, your job requires use of your hands, and in the process of punching this person, you break your hand and now will be unable to fulfill your duties at work for an additional 4 to 6 weeks. And, oh boy, we got a basketball game here in Minnesota, after all, at the Williams Arena, the barn, baby. Big Ten basketball action. Minnesota Gophers could possibly win a freaking game. Holy moly. I mean, they won't. Don't worry. They could, but at least they could for once. Like, it's rare that we even get that close. But anyway, finishing up with the Blake Griffin story. So, dude punches athletic, equipment manager, guy, assistant, whatever, in the face twice, breaks his hand, and is now injured 4 to 6 weeks. Clippers are going to look into, I want to say they're conducting an investigation on exactly what happened, and once that is done, they're going to determine what, if any, disciplinary actions, such as suspension or criminal charges, maybe even, or what, I don't know. So this story isn't even over, but it's fresh and funny and juicy, and I wanted to share it with you. So there is NBA dribble basketball talk, and like I said, we've got college basketball going on. We are underway in the conference basketball season of the NCAA. Where I live in Big Ten country. That is unfortunate for me for several reasons. Generally, Big Ten basketball is not, it doesn't have a reputation for necessarily being the best basketball. But especially when you're in the state of Minnesota, and your Minnesota Gophers have been worthless basically always, except for the few years that they were cheating in recruitment and stuff with Clem Haskins and Bobby Jackson and all those guys when we went to the Final Four. However, I have got the game on tonight, and the Gophers are hosting the 21st ranked in the country Purdue Boilermakers, and the score here with 28.8 seconds left is 65-63. Purdue in the lead. Minnesota Golden Gophers with the ball. This is some pretty intense stuff here. Go Gophers. Now, the Gophers, like I said, they've struggled forever. We've went from big name coach to big name coach. We had Tubby Smith here a few years ago. Couldn't seem to do anything with our program, even though he's proven he can, coach one of the biggest programs in the country to a national championship, albeit, 10, 15 plus years ago. He couldn't get the job done, so we bring in a guy with the last name Pitino. Now, granted, it's not the Pitino, but it's a fruit from the loins of the Pitino. It's literally an apple from the Pitino tree. So one would think that there's some, credibility and worthiness and competence there. However, we have not seen that one bit here in Minnesota under the Richie or Ricky or whatever the heck little Pitino Jr. is. And of course, the Gophers' possession ends in them taking a horrible three-point shot with about 5 seconds left on the shot clock. It gets blocked. Purdue ball. That was just a horrible shot selection right there. Bad play design. Just See, that's the thing. It feels at times like this Gopher team might have some talent on it, but they're a mess. There's so much. This Gopher team is so much like the Timberwolves. They got guys that can ball and play, but they don't have a clue when it comes to crunch time. They're out there clueless, and to me that falls on the shoulders of who's ever in charge of leadership. Oh, missed the second free throw. It's a 3-point game. 20 seconds left. Don't run down and get a layup. Play for a good 3-point attempt here. No, we're in the lane. We just went for 2. That was kind of dumb. Oh, man, had a guy wide open on the wing for a 3 there. Stupid. You wasted too much time to do the take it to the rim. If you're going to do the take it to the rim play, you got to do that right away with the 20 seconds left at the beginning of the possession. You can't run 10 seconds off the clock and then decide we'll do the take it to the rim play, where now there's only 10.1 seconds left. You got to make 2 free throws, get the ball back, and then score 2 or 3 points, depending on what the other team does in the in-between time. So it is not smart at all. Made the first free throw, misses the second free throw, takes him a couple seconds to foul. Still a 2-point lead for Purdue. 7 points, 7.5 seconds left. Definitely looks like